This is the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel that's dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating one meal a day. Well, today I want to talk about eating windows. This is a concept that can seem kind of confusing, but I want to demystify what the eating windows are, how they're used, and the pros and cons of it, and how you can incorporate it into your OMAD practice. The concept of an eating window is something that's brought up frequently by people who are new to OMAD or intermittent fasting, who I see it all the time, that they come into the Facebook group pages or some of the intermittent fasting chat rooms, chat blogs, and when other people talk about their eating window, often you'll see figures that look something like this: 23 to 1, 20 to 4, 19 to 5, etc., etc. And people who are new will look at that and say, well, that's kind of confusing. What is this about? I didn't realize I had to study trigonometry to understand this diet, and you don't. But what they're talking about is their particular eating window. And what an eating window is simply the amount of time that you allow yourself to eat anything with calories during your day. Your eating window, let's say for example you're planning on taking an hour to eat your meal today, then your eating window would be, say, 23-1. You would have a 1 hour eating window, then there would be 23 hours of the day where you're not eating, which would make the 24-hour period of a day. And it goes, if it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, but that's the gist of it right there. That's the basics of what an eating window is. And it might seem confusing to some people because they may say, well, I don't get it. Aren't we just eating one meal a day? What's with all of this time? I don't understand. And simply what you're doing is you're deciding ahead of time an approximate time of how long it's going to take you to eat your meal for the day. Now, you may want to take your time. I mean, I certainly do. I enjoy it. I'm not in a hurry to scarf down all of my food and just get it over with. I only eat once a day, so I want to take my time and enjoy it. And if it takes me an hour or two to go through my meal, well, then so be it. For some people, they like to have smaller meals. Maybe it's harder for them to kind of sit down and have a nice little spread out before them and just finish it all at once, dessert included. So maybe you decided that today I'm going to take, say, a period of 3 or 4 hours, and that's when my allotted time to have anything with calories and eat is going to be. Maybe you sit down and you have a little bit of an appetizer, maybe a little snack like, say, some chips or pretzels or whatever, something you're craving, and then you give it a little bit of time, and then you have your actual meal, and you're being social with people you're sitting with, so it may take you an hour, hour and a half, let's say, to eat the meal. And then right when you're done, you know that somebody has baked something special for dessert, or maybe you're just going to have some fruit or no dessert at all, but you never know. But let's say you're having dessert. So then you decide, well, I'd like to wait a little bit before I have that. And so you do, and then once you're done eating, you've decided, okay, I'm good, I'm satiated, I've had enough for the day, I'm done. Your window closes, and you don't consume any more calories for the rest of the day. So there are definitely some pros and cons to approaching it this way. One of the pros is that it gives you a little bit more flexibility. I think a lot of people, when they hear one meal of the day, it's like, they feel that they have to kind of rush through it and, okay, let me hurry up and eat my food. And believe me, it's not a race. You want to sit down and enjoy this is the whole point of it. You're making better food choices. You're eating less and less often. So you want to sit down, take your time, enjoy every sensory part of the meal, enjoy everything about it. And this is something I think that's missing in our modern society today, but that's a topic for another post. But you want to take your time. there's no bonus prize for saying that you finished your OMAD today in 20 minutes. I mean, if it takes you 20 minutes to eat, then that's fine too. But you want to take your time with it. So having that eating window where you say, okay, maybe between these 3 hours I'm going to eat. This way here, especially if you're traveling, if you're out and about, or maybe you're not quite back is when you want to be from whatever you're doing, you don't have to say, oh, well, I'm bogged down by saying I have to eat at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. You could say, okay, well, between the hours of, say, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, I'm going to have my meal, which gives you some good amount of flexibility. I would say another benefit as well, and I kind of touched upon this earlier too, is I know some people who do OMAD, they're not used to eating bigger meals because maybe they've been used to a while eating what some health experts recommend, which is 4 or 5 smaller meals a day. They may be used to just having those smaller meals, so when they sit down for their OMAD, they get full extremely quickly, and they feel like, okay, well, I've only had probably 600-700 calories. That's obviously not going to be enough to really sustain me for the long run, but I can't physically shovel anything in. So either what they do is they try to shovel it in, or they try to just go the whole day with only eating about 500-600 calories. Both options are not that good. So having an open window of, say, a few hours, you can have a little bit, then go back, have a little bit more, until where you make up the equivalent of a nice full meal for the day. There are some drawbacks to adopting this approach to your OMAD, and that is, one, it could promote binge eating. Psychologically, you could say, well, I'm going to give myself 4 hours today, and that means in 4 hours I'm going to eat whatever I want, which is what we do. But if you binge and you're not aware and watching what you're doing, you could end up consuming more calories than you would have if you ate 3 regular American meals throughout a longer day. So you do have to, watch what you're doing and kind of consciously choose your eating times and your food carefully still. But I use the approach of I eat what I like and I eat what I want to eat. And again, that's one of the beautiful things about OMAD. So those are just some points to consider. Whether or not you're really going to adapt the window. To me, my advice, I think using the window is probably best for people who have never fasted before and are having a real struggle with starting and jumping headfirst into OMAD. If you've never fasted before, if you've never even skipped breakfast, it's probably going to be difficult for you to take a 1 hour block of the day to do your eating and then not eat for the rest of the day. Even if you're feeling full, it's often sometimes just the sensation of eating, the social aspect of it, that it can be a habit. It can be habit forming. Even when we're not hungry, sometimes we eat. So I would recommend, maybe having an 8-hour eating window or a 7-hour eating window to start, which usually means skipping breakfast and then waiting a little bit and then eating your meal. And then gradually, as you get more used to it, close the gap on your eating window. Even if you only close it, say, a half an hour at a time, until you get to where you're becoming more and more comfortable and you're doing a strict OMAD, you're eating 1 meal a day. I think that would probably be the best approach. Excuse me. And even if you get to a point where you're not strict OMAD, where you still don't feel like doing that, you have a small window of when you're eating. Even if it's, let's say it's 3 hours, you're still way ahead of the average American, the average person who is eating from the moment they wake up until just about the moment they go to bed, who's got those insulin is just spiking, whose the hunger hormones are just all out of whack because they're constantly being fed. You're still way far advanced and doing way better with your intermittent fasting and with your health than other people will who eat all day. So that's my opinion on the eating windows, and that's how it's worked. So whenever you see these numbers or people talking about something, this is what they're referring to. And so again, if you're somebody who's brand new to this and saying, geez, this sounds kind of scary, I don't know if I should jump into OMAD right away, and I think it could be a deterrent, although for me, I did have a little bit of experience with some fasting, and I jumped right into it, and it worked for me. But I may not be I may be an exception and not the rule. So you may want to try a slightly bigger window. Start with, like, say 7 or 8 hours. I wouldn't go any more than 8 hours though, because you do have to make some sort of sacrifice. But start with like a 7 or 8 hour window, and then as you start to get used to it, gradually shrink it down by, even if you have to take a half an hour in a week, and just a little bit less until you start to get down to your true OMAD. You're eating maybe an hour, taking about an hour a day, which by the way is to eat a meal and taking your time, an hour, even 2 hours, totally normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, even in Europe, most meals last for as long as a couple hours in most formal meals. So don't feel like you have to be in a hurry. Don't feel that your one meal of the day has to be done in 15 minutes. It's not like that. You just want to make sure that you're managing your eating window properly, and you do what you have to do to get yourself down to that one meal. And I think using this technique is definitely going to work and help you out. All right, well, I appreciate you listening to this video. I appreciate you sticking around and hanging out with me. And if you don't forget to click the like and subscribe button, because I have a lot more videos coming out. And if you're on Facebook, stop by our official OMAD Dad Facebook group page. Send me an invite, and we'll get you in there. I have a lot of articles I post. I post more videos, and we have a really great community of people that, we bounce ideas off each other and share information. And I learn a lot. I'm sure they learn a lot from each other. And I'm definitely inspired, and I love hearing the stories. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, don't forget to type them in down below or send me a message myself. But that is it for me for today. Happy OMAD, and I will see you very soon.